Hey there, YouTube land. Big Dave here. I'm sitting in the kitchen. It's Wednesday morning, having my coffee. So, Markland Man 1, he sent me a message about beginning clarinet. So I don't do too much of that on here. But if you look on my videos, there's a couple of videos about clarinet talk and stuff like that, This is what I will tell you. So I don't know if some of you ever played the clarinet before or never played. It's a journey, man. It's a journey. Don't mind me. The allergy and everything is just incredible. So I have all kinds of things that I'm taking, and it works kind of like more or less. But really making this go. So the first thing is, so you got a clarinet, and you want to see if the thing goes together. That's really important. Does it go together? Your job is to close these rings, Now I play some guitar, so that's why my fingers are a little bit long on the right hand, because sometimes I finger pick, but they're short on my left hand. I play a little violin too, I'm not saying I'm high-fits or anything, certainly not, but I do get around. Okay, so here, your job is to close these rings and the holes. The holes are under the rings. You need to spend a good amount of time learning how each section of the clarinet feels in your hand. Now, when you close these three rings and this bottom key, which is the lowest key, and if you close the bottom and blow into it, there should be no air coming out. If there's air coming out, you got to get your clarinet fixed. When you take the top section, your thumb has to cover this, and then these three keys, and then close this up and blow into it and see if there's air coming out. Okay. Now, one of the reasons the air could be coming out is because you don't know how to put your fingers down. Alright? I'm speaking in the negative here. You'll learn how to put your fingers down, but in the beginning you might not know how to put your fingers down. Alright? Now the other thing is, what about these rings? A lot of time when you get a clarinet, if you buy one online or something, or get it secondhand or whatever, even a new one, it doesn't matter. I've seen them in all conditions. These rings do not go down into where it lets the hole be exposed. The entire hole needs to be exposed. If it's not, and you're only feeling the ring sticking on the top, the clarinet is not adjusted properly. You should be able to feel the circle of the wooden ring, and the rest of your finger then pushes down the ring, which closes this. So if there's some reason why the rings are sticking up, I'm going to be really disgusting now. I don't use cork grease. I just kind of put saliva on this. Don't ask. But I'm telling you, this is the truth. I don't recommend you do this. I'm just telling you. I haven't died from it yet. I've been playing this thing since I'm like 8 years old. So, and I'm going to be 60 soon. And I haven't died from doing that. I used to use cork grease. I just don't. That's it. Alright, here's the mouthpiece. Sometimes when you put the clarinet together, this thing here, you have to push this down to pick this lever up so you can put the other piece on. Now you just hold it on the bottom. There's like what I suggest you do is when you turn the clarinet, you take these fingers and put them over these keys, close it, and then your hand is around this way so you're not on that bar. You see? Then you can get a grip, and if this clarinet gets stuck, but you don't want them loose either. You know, I know people as they're playing, the clarinet's falling apart because either the corks are no good. These are called the tenon corks. But what you got to do is close this down, hold it up higher, hold it up here, and then close this down so that you can just slide this together. This bar has to be up. This bar. If it's not up, it's going to catch on something. All right. Anyway. Okay, so now, the next thing you need to do is learn how to close all those keys. You can kind of just put your finger on them. Your finger should go on very gently. Everything should be gentle, but I'm just doing this to pop the sounds to show you that it closes as you go down. You want to learn how to put your thumb, you know, all that kind of stuff. I mean, you need to go to a good clarinet teacher, number one. When I was coming up, I used to go to New York City on the bus, and I studied with like 4 of the best teachers that were over there. And the clarinet is a very mouth-ready instrument because the next thing you have to do is suck your reed. See, not just... I don't even wet my saxophone reeds. I just put them on and play. But the clarinet, it's got to kind of be moist before you put it on. Mouthpiece. So, if you have a mouthpiece that's no good, or like a beginner mouthpiece, you just got to get rid of it. I would say out of the box, you just, you know, get a Van Doren, a 5RV lyre, M30, something that's not too big. This is a B46. This is more medium, but in the beginning you don't want anything that's too open because it's more important that you're able to play on a little bit stiffer reed than to have a more open mouthpiece. And a lot of beginning mouthpieces are more open than you would think they are. But a Rico, what is that called? And they come 0, 5, and X, or 10, X10, X5. Just get one of the lower ones, like the 5 is good enough for 0, even the 0 or whatever they call it, the small. Don't get the 10. You don't need a 10. Like I play 10. I play a B46, which is more. Believe it or not, the B45, which everybody says is the greatest mouthpiece in the world. It has a kind of a weird curve on it. The B46 is a little easier to deal with. I prefer the B46 for different reasons. But again, like a 5RV lyre, 5RV is a little bit smaller without the lyre on the end. An M30 has a more generous kind of a tip, so it's less prone to squeaking and stuff like that. It's not a very open mouthpiece. And, you know, you just start with whatever reed you can handle. A 2.5, then go to a 3 eventually, and maybe work your way up to a 3.5. And you don't need to go much more than that. You know, I play 3.5 plus on a B46. I can play that. Years ago, they used to tell us, oh, you get the heavy reed. But you know what? And the reeds were cut different back then. All right. So you wet your reed, you put it on the face of the mouthpiece. You want to line it up with the tip. But sometimes it may not play right, so you might move it a little bit one way or the other. It's not always going to be like perfectly straight. If it doesn't play right, you might have to move it just a little bit. Put your ligature on. You need a good ligature. You know, I'm not hawking Van Doren, believe me. I don't have anything to do with Van Doren. But this is the good ligature with the plates on it. I have other ligatures, but This is one that's like 40, 30 years old. I don't know how old it is. It's old. It's like one of the first ones that ever came out. Okay, so this isn't straight. It's not working. Alright, so it'll give me up to a C with this reed. The reed to me is a little bit on the soft side. So the next thing you want to see is if you can make a sound. Now, you can either just practice with just the barrel and the mouthpiece, or just play open G. Hold the clarinet. Double long tone. You play the tone, make it louder, make it softer, make it louder, make it softer. Put your thumb down. Learn how to close that key. Make F. Put your next finger down. Now you got 2 keys down. And I'm going to tell you, in the beginning, when you practice the clarinet, start your note with a good tongue. Ta! Make an attack. I learned that from a teacher years ago about when you start your long tones on the clarinet, always start with a good attack. The reason is, it just sets your mouth a certain way, but then you want the tongue out of the way. One of the other teachers used to talk about, don't use the tongue, keep it out of the way while you're practicing your long tones. But then the one teacher used to say all the time, start with a good attack. Really start your note. And just keep working your way down until you can play all those notes. And then you'll move into the next register with the register key. But for now, don't worry. If you're just beginning and you play the saxophone, which I'm assuming that's the question here. I'm not assuming you're a beginner. I'm assuming you already kind of played the saxophone. But the thing is, you need to learn to control these keys. So it's open, and it's this. And until you can learn to control all these keys all the way down, you know, that's what you got to work on. As far as the embouchure is concerned, there's so many opinions on this, and I'm telling you right now, you know, I remember years ago, like I said, I used to take the bus. I used to go to New York, and I went to several places. I studied with several of the best teachers. That's what I used to do. I went and I got lessons with, you know, whoever I could get a lesson with. And I don't want to mention names and stuff like right now. I'm just saying, like, I used to go to different teachers, and they were top teachers. And they all had their own thing going on, you know. But as far as what I've learned over the years about actually playing the clarinet, the saxophone is more in. See, and the sound is different if you try to play the clarinet that way. The clarinet is more up and down. It's more behind the teeth and in front of the lower lip. And you should not be pressing your teeth into this mouthpiece. I can play for hours and not have hardly any line here. It may look like I'm using like a lot of facial muscles and stuff, but I'm not pressing hard into that reed. It's just barely any pressure. And it takes a long time to really learn how to play those upper notes without, having issues. I'll be back because I know this is going to shut off if it didn't shut off already.